Pack up your tent and your camping supplies as we head to the Pacific Northwest in search of the elusive Bigfoot. Ignore the warnings of the locals and your naysaying girlfriend. What's the worst that could happen? That's right, ladies and gents. Today we're taking a look at the found footage piece of movie mayhem, Willow Creek.
Are we having theme music? Like, how do we... Is it just start with us talking?
Yeah, Dave's going to do us some, like, a jingle, I think.
Dave.
Nah.
Danielle.
Two Limes and a Lemon.
Welcome back to the Two Limes and a Lemon podcast, the podcast where we review and discuss movies both old and new, good and bad. My name's Nat and I'll be your host this week for the next instalment of our found footage series. With me as always are my co-hosts Danielle and Dave. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
But before we head into the movie itself, let's take a look at what we've each been consuming this week. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean eating, although it can be, but rather what media have you consumed? Books, TVs, games, or movies? Danielle, we're going to start with you.
I went to a musical yesterday. I saw Mean Girls, and it was fun.
Was it very much like the movie, like the story?
Yeah, it's the original Lindsay Lohan film was then turned into a Broadway production, which was then turned into a movie of the musical, and I saw the Broadway production. I've seen all iterations now, and I will say, I think for people that are big fans of the Broadway show, the movie version of it was sort of divisive. I liked it. I thought it did a good job translating. Like, sometimes modern movie musicals aren't great because they try and be too literal, and things that work on the stage don't work, kind of putting them in a film structure. They're like too big. So I like both adaptations differently and equally. But the big thing about the production that I saw yesterday was this local series called the Pittsburgh CLO. This is probably like their last traditional musical they're putting on. So it was a bit sad. It's been going on for 80 years. I went with my mother when I was a kid, and then when I moved back here after college, I would go to the summer shows with my aunt. And post-COVID, they weren't really able to recover. They kept losing money. And so the Pittsburgh CLO and then something called the Pittsburgh Public Theater combined, and the next year they're going to do like a combined season, but there's probably never going to be like a Pittsburgh CLO as we know it anymore. Yeah. So it's a bit bittersweet. There's one more summer play, but it is a like a touring company. It's not local produced.
Production, yeah.
Yeah, the nice thing about these in the past is they were like predominantly local actors and completely produced and put on in the city. So it's kind of sad that that's going away. But, I'm supportive of the next iteration of it, whatever that might be. How about you, Dave?
Well, first off, Nat, I'm very disappointed that you did not congratulate my amazing Bigfoot impression when you introduced us.
So needy.
Like,
can I
have a compliment, please?
Thank you. Well done, David.
Danielle.
Dave wins the podcast.
What have you got to say?
Yeah.
Enough about me. What have I been up to? I'm going to talk about my guinea pigs. So recently, I've been obviously giving them their little fruit and veggies and stuff, and they're obsessed with cucumber. They've been putting it in their little water bowl, so they're flavouring their water now. So these are very smart guinea pigs. It might be an accident. They could just be
intelligent.
Whoops, I've dropped it in there. But I tell you what, they are drinking the water a lot more when the cucumber falls in there. So they've definitely got some kind of plan going on. They're still going strong and they're still cute. But yeah, that's what I've been up to. Guinea pig update. That's what I'll be doing. What about you now?
This week I started and finished the new Shipwrecked Nightmare at Sea documentary on Netflix, which is about the Costa Concordia cruise ship that sank back in 2012. I've watched obviously things about it previously because obviously it happened ages ago, but this documentary really gives you like a feel for how awful it really was for like the people that were just the passengers on there. And it gets you so mad at like how the captain and the crew kind of like, well, not so much the crew, because a lot of them were like, we need to tell him what's happening, and he was like playing it down, like they knew how catastrophic it was, like the damage, and they were still just like, oh, it's just a power outage, even though they've like crashed into a big old rock.
I don't know why this like confused in my head. I saw like a little, probably scrolling through TikTok or something about that being on, and I thought it was about the poop ship.
Oh no, that's another one. We have watched that one though.
That is why I laughed whenever you said you watched it. It wasn't me being callous about a real shipwreck.
Yesterday, me and Dave also started a new Outlast series on Netflix, because before they did the one where they were in like Canada or Alaska or somewhere cold, but now they're doing like a tropical version. So me and Dave love that
drama.
show. And all the like...
Anything with conflict.
Now on to the main event and the 2012 movie Willow Creek. When Danielle said that she wanted to do a found footage series, there were two initial movies that sprang to my mind as the ones that I remembered being the most creepy. One was Paranormal Activity 3 and one was Willow Creek. But Paranormal Activity's franchise always gets love from everybody and talked about, so I figured I'd go for Willow Creek. So, what is the movie for those who haven't seen it before? It follows Jim and Kelly, a couple who, on Jim's wishes, go to see if they can find the location of the famous Patterson-Gimlin Bigfoot footage that was filmed back in 1967, or maybe catch a glimpse of the big guy himself. Before they get there, they interview some of the eccentric locals who are a mix of believers and skeptics, and some who warn them off altogether. When they finally make it into the woods, it isn't long before some spooky shenanigans start occurring, leading to a terrifying night in a dark tent with noises outside that can only be sinister in motive. It really is a tense 20 minutes of cinema, and even though I've seen it, I still find myself jumping at times. They survive the night, but are totally lost in the woods by nightfall the next day. Dragged off into the woods, we're left with the haunting image of an unknown woman who desperately needs a bra as credits roll. So my first question, as always, to my co-host is, have you seen Willow Creek before? Danielle?
Yes, I saw it. Around the time this came out, I was an avid listener of Dan Harmon's podcast, Harmontown, and the director of it came on to the podcast and talked about making this Bigfoot movie, and so I watched it soon after it came out. I didn't see it in the cinema, but I saw it soon after it came out.
I didn't know it was in the cinema, but I remember watching it yours years ago, thinking it was going to be one of those low-budget, terrible movies, and was like, really, at the start I was like, oh, it's going to be like that film. But then when you get that tent scene, I remember saying to you, I was like, this is still the same shot. This is like so intense. Yeah, I think the whole film, that is their selling point, is that 20-minute segment. I turned my fan off during that bit to hear all the sounds to get really immersed. I was like, I can't have, and I was drinking a glass of wine at the time, and I was just like, I'm feeling very drunk and terrified right now.
I remember us watching it, like you say, and being like, oh, it's going to be like another found footage. But once it got to that, like once they've left the locals and they're actually I suppose it starts when the guy in the woods originally tells them, like, you're not coming this way, you need to leave. Like, because even if they hadn't met Bigfoot at that point, a creepy guy in the woods gets like,
yeah, he was like out there on his own, a bit random, wasn't he?
Yeah, like there's no explanation of why he's there, so it puts you on edge. And especially like the thought of them sleeping in like a tent that doesn't offer you any protection from anything. So I just remember me and Dave finishing the movie and being like, I can't believe that's how it ended up. And so it always has kind of stuck with me. So, do you believe in Bigfoot? As we said in the last movie for Lake Mungo, like, do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in Bigfoot?
I don't believe in Bigfoot. I think it's like Loch Ness. It's just a conspiracy thing to bring in the tourists. I would love to see if there was a Bigfoot, but it's probably just a big bear instead.
How about you, Danielle, as it's over in your neck of the woods?
Fully the other end of the country. Where this
It's still on the same land mass. It's fine.
No, I don't believe in Bigfoot, but I do enjoy the lore behind it all.
Yeah.
Like, good on people that become so obsessed with it that they know all these
Bigfoot things, yeah.
You know.
I'd like to go visit it, though.
Same. I think it looks really interesting.
Yeah. What about you, Nat? Do you think he's here?
Do you know what? With a lot of these, like, cryptids, like Mothman and Bigfoot and stuff, I don't know either way. Maybe I'm like is it an agnostic where you don't know either way? I like to believe that they're real. Like, because it just makes the world a bit more interesting, like, to think, oh, there could be something out there. I mean, I'm not saying I believe in, like, mermaids and things like
yeah, you
that,
do.
but I do like the thought of Bigfoot and, like, I mean, not a cryptid, but, like, aliens and stuff. I think it does make life have a bit more mystery
I feel
to it.
there's more chance of mermaids than there are of Bigfoot.
Do you?
Yeah, because the sea is so deep. Not like the mermaids that we know from films, like singing and combing their hair with forks, but
right.
more just
Well,
like half fish, half
sirens
people.
kind of thing.
I don't know, maybe they're like humanoid-esque kind of fish. I don't know, but I wouldn't say. Yeah, I said there's more chance of that.
No, I love the idea of like towns that are like so into whatever mythology.
Yeah.
Like I think, I agree. It would be a fun. From afar, a lot of these Bigfoot people, in like the people that they do the one-on-one interviews, are kind of quirky and fun. But I don't know if though I'd really want to spend a lot of time.
Maybe like a weekend.
They seem a bit intense. About
that guy, the characters that were the complete opposites. You had the older lady who's just like, no, I don't really believe Bigfoot's real.
Nita.
Yeah. And then you had that straight cut to like that guy barrel down the lens with the long hair, like Bigfoot's real, he's going to get you. Like, be careful with bears. The guy in that he's interviewed, he's got that long hair.
Was it the bookshop guy?
Yeah, bookshop guy. He's just staring down at that. He's got these sort of like intrusive eyes.
He's very large eyes.
I was like, perfect casting. I was like,
it's not casting though. I think these are real people from the area. These are real like Bigfoot enthusiasts that they used for this.
That's even better then. Cool. Really, they fit the stereotype.
It almost is a proper documentary to a certain extent. What was the thing you were wrong about?
Oh, okay. So there is there's a 0.1 chance of Bigfoot existing. But mermaids, there's a 0.001% chance of them existing.
So there's more chance.
There's more chance of Bigfoot being here. So
there we go.
I mean, like, I don't know what statistics that's really from. I'm gonna just throw it out there. Bigfoot.com, that's from. Bit biased.
I love Bigfoot.com, yeah. And I hate mermaids.
I'm apt to think that there is something that maybe isn't Bigfoot as we know it, but some sort of phenomenon, or like people that are not as advanced, that have grown up in the wilderness, that are mistaken for Bigfoot, for the fact that there's like variations on it. There's Sasquatch, there's Yeti, and it's all sort of these ape human looking creatures with too much hair. I mean, I don't know. In this movie didn't teach me much about Bigfoot either, so I can't tell you.
Well, I mean, these films, like, there's other Bigfoot movies, and he's like the star. You don't really see him that much, but I always like with a shark film, it's like, oh, when's the shark going to get in? The same with this, it's like Bigfoot. When we're going to, you already have like an idea of what Bigfoot is and how they're going to dress it in this film. I don't know, something about these kind of movies, I'm already invested because it's got the lore behind it already. It's like if they did a found footage one about Baba Yaga or something like that, I'd already be invested because of that lore.
With this one, because you kind of see like the Bigfoot town almost beforehand, and he's almost like a cartoonish character.
He is.
It's kind of like an oxymoron between like, oh, he's like a big cuddly guy, to then like what we get in the later half of the movie where it's like he's some sort of like predator kind of thing. So you're like running and screaming.
You're supposed to be roasting donuts over a fire, Bigfoot. What's going on?
Where's the flowers?
Why throw rocks at me?
It's almost like, they set it up to be like, they probably won't find anything. It might be some other it might be about a bunch of weirdos attacking them in the woods. It does a really good job at building that up.
Up to a certain point, I would say even I wasn't fully convinced that Bigfoot was terrorizing them. Like the scene that you've alluded to before, where they're like huddled up in the tent, they hear sounds. Like you're camping in the wilderness, you hear weird sounds. It wasn't until like the kind of whooping noises that I was like, that's probably not a bear. But there's like a hitting wood sound, and he's like, oh, that's because Bigfoot likes to hit wood against each other. And I was like, well, it kind of just sounded like something hitting wood. You did not got me fully convinced. You are terrified for them because it could be a bit like there's a bunch of stuff in the wilderness that they are highly not prepared for that could also be about to kill them.
I'm surprised they didn't bring any bear spray or anything like that with them.
They didn't prepare for much at all. I don't think they even had a map.
No, or a compass.
Yeah, a compass would have been great. I was thinking that, like, when they got lost, I was like, they not got a compass.
Let's talk about Jim and Kelly as our, like, main duo. Did you like them?
Can I tell you, I didn't realize their names and had to look them up because they refer to each other with pet names. It's just babe, baby, babe. It's like babe boy, babe girl. I don't, like, who are these people?
So is that a no then?
No, but I did recognize the guy, and he played Detective Wilden on Pretty Little Liars.
Did he? I used to watch that. I did not make that correlation.
And once I saw that, I couldn't unsee it.
I thought it was going to say I thought you couldn't unsee it when he jumped into the river.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, I liked them. They were fun. Yeah, I mean, like, I thought they were engaging. I felt that there were a couple with they've got the issues of she wants to move over to California and he wants to marry her and they've got issues. I liked them. I was quite sad at their end. I was hoping that at least one of them would get out of there.
I thought they were on the verge of breaking up. I thought she was doing this as like a last hurrah. Yeah.
It was in the end.
There's one point where they're in the woods and they're hiking and he's like got her filming him. And I'm like, why is she, like, she's just along for the ride. Why is she got to film him walking through the woods?
All over the place, isn't it? It's shaky cam.
Yeah. And then they get there and he's like filming random stuff and she's clearly like tired and annoyed and putting up a tent by herself.
What about you, Nat? Did you like them?
I liked Kelly. I didn't like Jim.
Thank you. I agree.
I felt like, especially in that tent scene, like, obviously, Kelly's scared out of her mind. The whole scene, I mean, we'll probably go into that in a bit more depth, but that whole scene, I was just looking at Kelly. I wasn't even looking at Jim, because when I looked at Jim, I just got annoyed, because she's terrified out of her mind, and he's almost kind of amused at the beginning of, like, oh, we're getting this great footage, not even caring, like, his partner, the woman he's kind of just proposed to, and alright, she has turned him down, but he doesn't care that she's come on this trip for him. She's scared out of her mind, and he's just like, oh well.
Yeah, because I'm going to defend Jim here because, like, there's nothing they can do anyway. They just have to listen to it. The only thing I say, it's annoying that he woke her up.
He is so enthused by it, though. He's like pulling out all of his Bigfoot factoids. He's like, "Oh, don't you know that?"
Yeah, because
and she's just like, "We're gonna die."
No, because he's been obsessed with Bigfoot since he was 8 years old. He's always wanted to do this thing. So this is like dream come true. Yes, he's probably not seeing the magnitude of the whole thing and like the danger because he's so like, he's scared. You can tell his face, he gets a bit scared. At the start, he's a bit like, oh, what's that? Oh, can you hear that? Oh, I was a bit like, if I was in that position, I'd be like, why did you wake me up? Let me sleep through it. And then you can just tell me in the morning because I would have been fine. I would have not heard any of this spooky noises.
Clearly, you would have gotten dragged out of the tent and killed, I think, then.
Oh, yeah, if you left the light, because I was like, turn the light off. But then, as soon as they do, they come closer. They're like, "Oh, it's safe to go over there. We can go."
That noise when they turn the light back on and you can hear the footfalls going back away again. I was like, "Oh, it's so tense." Yeah,
you're like in there with them.
Would you be mad if you were Jim and you loved Bigfoot and believed in it, and then your partner didn't believe in it? Would you be mad at that, or would you be like, that's cool?
Yeah, I'd be like, that's cool. I wouldn't force my fandom on anybody.
I think it would be like anything that I love. I wouldn't force it on them, but I would always be like talking about how much I loved it, and then I would hope that through osmosis they would either start to love it or humor me and like accompany, like, oh, I want to see All Night Film Festival of David Lynch, and they'd be like, okay, well, I'll go with you because you want somebody to go with you to see it. Yeah. Clearly she's humoring him enough that she's gone on this road trip.
Yeah, she's using holiday to go on his road trip.
She even says, like, I just want to be with you. I don't care about the Bigfoot stuff. I just like hanging out with you. And then he's like, oh. I'm like, well, that's a good thing for someone to say.
If you'd gone all that way and then you got warned off by the creepy man in the woods, would you have carried on, or would you have heeded his warnings and gone back?
If I was with you, Nat, we would have driven back home. You would have been like, yep, we're going.
I think I might have tried to wait it out and then like snuck in the front way instead of like the weird through the woods back way that they end up going. Like, I might have taken one more attempt the conventional way, and then I would have pieced out. Like, come back at night or something.
At what point in their journey would you have said, actually, no, we're going home. Mine was the sock in the tree.
Yeah. No, yeah, when they found their camp destroyed, yeah, that's time to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, broad daylight. They've only been away for 10, 15 minutes.
Or at least move
And
camp.
then-
Move camp somewhere
Yeah.
else. I would have started heading back.
Can you explain to me why they were patting themselves on the back so much when they found that swimming hole?
It's because when they spoke to that other Bigfoot enthusiast, he said, make sure that you're near the river and you can walk and follow it down, and then you'll get towards the recording site.
The Patterson Gimlin film site, which was said 100 times in this film.
They never got
Oh my god, half of those Bigfoot enthusiasts seemed more excited by Patterson and Gilman than they were by actual Bigfoot. How many songs about Patterson and Gilman?
I love that man. That
the
song.
bum guy?
Yeah, and he's halfway through, he's like, oh, I forgot the thing. He's like, that's all right, start again.
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
so many verses.
I was like, I bet he. And then maybe that's when you're right. Yeah, you're right then. Oh no, Danielle, when you said they were real people, maybe he's a real singer.
I think they are.
And he probably just mucked it up. He was like, "Can I do it again?" He's like, "Yeah."
No, I think they were all real because whenever, again, like I said, I knew about this before it came out from the director, who's this guy Bobcat Goldthwait, who is
what a name.
Yeah.
So he's a comedian. He went on tour with Nirvana back in the day.
Oh, wow.
He grew up with Tom Kenny, who is the voice of SpongeBob. And so when they started out as teenagers doing stand-up comedy, they were Bobcat and Tomcat. And
that's funny.
And so he was most well known in the late 80s, early 90s for stand-up, and then he was in several of the Police Academy films, and he had this character that he did with stand-up, and then he kind of got into directing. It's TV at first, and then prior to this he did a film with Robin Williams called World's Greatest Dad that I highly recommend. It's so dark, but I've
seen that film,
really
yeah.
interesting. Yeah. He was on this Harmontown podcast and was talking about how intense these Bigfoot enthusiasts were and how he had to spend so much time with them to make this film and how they were really intense. So that's why in my memory all of those people are quite real.
Yeah.
Did you say it took 5 days to film the whole thing? Is that right?
Yeah, 5-day shoot is what I saw on the IMDb trivia.
That's mad to get that whole thing done in 5 days. And because if people obviously talk about it and they're like, oh, this Bigfoot film's amazing, the actors, they must be like, that was only 5 days of my life. And then yeah, and it's I can't really remember much of the shoot.
They got a lot of footage for 5 days work.
Well, I mean, but if we really break down what we see in the film, I want to say we don't get into the woods even until 45 minutes in at least.
Yeah.
So a lot of that are these interviews with these people, which I think could have been cut a little bit more. There was just too much of that, and for me, I didn't learn much about Bigfoot in that. I learned more about Patterson and Gimlin in these songs and how eccentric these people are.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Bigfoot is more no one really knows anything about it. They've all just made up their own little bits.
But I don't know that I heard much about what their little bits were. I heard more about what Patterson and Gimlin did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that they haven't got any actual Bigfoot
That's the
story.
actual evidence they think, I suppose, rather than actual Bigfoot himself, yeah.
But the actual, we've got them first walking in the woods, then you've got this very long scene of them in the tent, and then walking in the woods again, and then that final confrontation.
In the dark.
Yeah.
Almost Blair Witch-esque.
Yeah, so there wasn't...
the very end, yeah.
There wasn't a lot to actually film. It doesn't surprise me that much. It was pretty condensed.
What they did.
Danielle was not impressed, guys.
She needed 58 characters in Lake Mungo.
No.
Strong editing with thousands.
No. Like the character obsession. No. What I would have liked to have seen is more like what Blair Witch did, where it it was like several nights of them being kind of tortured, and it escalates.
Yeah.
So the
okay,
first
yeah.
night is like noises that they can kind of poo-poo away. He's saying, oh, these are definitely Bigfoot noises. And she's like, no, we're in the woods. It's a bear or something. It's still kind of creepy, but we're okay. And then they keep getting lost in the woods. Maybe they find the site that they meant to get to, or they get closer to it. But
because
they do when they're at the river, and then because he does say like, oh, this is it, and then there's like a really terrible noise from like a bush behind them, isn't there?
Oh,
and then they just leg it.
I just thought he found I didn't get that. I thought it was just another part of the
I thought it was.
Oh.
Maybe
it could have been.
No, I kind of agree with you, Danielle, in that sense, because like in a sense, Bigfoot's supposed to be this creature that's hard to find, and then these two have gone, instead of going left, they go right and go for like half a day's walk, and in within their first night they've met like 3 Bigfoot.
Well, that's
and I'm like, that's quite easy to catch then, if that's the case, isn't it?
My theory is that it was like a community of big feet that, like male big feet, that were looking for some brides. Because
I agree, because we had that woman that's missing in the diner on the photo,
crying her eyes out.
I didn't make the connection when I was watching it, but afterwards I looked up the trivia, and it's the same woman that we see with her top off at the end.
Well, I don't think they show her face. We just see sort of larger breasts and underwear of this woman
crying,
in moaning.
She's crying. Yeah, because in amongst... Okay, actually, that's one of the questions as we talk about the sounds. I've put, what was your most, like, frightening sound? The clacking of the wood, the whooping, the, like, long siren-esque call, which is, like, goes on for, like, a good, like, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
The woman crying, the sounds of the crunching leaves, or the heavy breathing.
Can I tell you, I have a fully different experience. So
okay,
because I've got like fans and stuff for this awful summer, all the time going. I've been watching TV with my headphones, and I've learned the hard way that you have to disconnect it from the TV to get it to work anywhere else. So I had started watching it on my laptop, and I wasn't hearing anything. And so then I paused it, and I have to disconnect it from the TV. So then I disconnect it from the TV, and I go back on. Still, no sound. And then I'm, like, turning everything up, because I'm like, am I just not hearing it? And then he connects the microphone, and it's like, Rrr! So that was the biggest jump that I had, because I thought my sound was broken, and it was not. And I blasted myself.
That's so funny. How about you, Dave?
I think it was the siren kind of like, woo. I mean, like, it's the build up. I think I'm glad I took, because at that time I was like, I'm just going to turn the fan off and just listen to it. I wasn't as scared as I was when I watched it the first time, but the build up and the tenseness is there. They did just such a good job with the sound design to make it feel like it's right next to the tent. But yeah, I think,
every noise is so crisp.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you're almost there.
It's like, I think it's the fact that they pause a lot. So there's a lot of like, did you hear that? Hear noise, and then takes a few more minutes to sort of quiet down, and they get like relaxed. It's almost like the actors are going like, okay, it's all stopped now. Okay, cool. And then there's like a few more beats, and then another noise, and then the most intense bit with the sounds is when they turn the lights off and they get really close, and you feel like you're like, no, get out. I don't know. That gives you the.
It's just like creeps. So claustrophobic. It feels like you're almost in that scene, because you're just sitting with them as like a two-shot. It's almost like you're another person sitting in the tent, experiencing it, looking at them, like. I don't know what it is about that scene, but even watching it this time, like, there's the bit where it comes really close and then it, like, bashes on the tent, and even I was like, even though I've seen it, I was still like, oh shit, like, I, like, literally said it out loud, and then I started laughing to myself, so I had to pause it for a second, because I was like, I was so into it.
Well, I think it's similar to what we've talked about with last week with, like, Mungo, and when we discussed some of the other found footage films, because it's supposed to be not produced, like it's supposed to be found, and so there's a lot of moments where things aren't happening and you're just waiting for the next thing to happen, so you lean a little closer and you're listening just like them for any sound that could be happening. And I think that intensifies it, and then it gets you whenever you're like leaning in so close or turning the volume up a little bit to hear better, and then things like it coming, like smacking right against the tent is even more intense because your senses are heightened.
Well, yeah, you're just expecting to hear more noise. You're not expecting it to be like a physical thing at that point.
And it's a bold thing to do, isn't it? To do a shot that lasts for like 20 minutes when that's like half the film premise, when you're getting all like when the horror is starting to happen at that point. So it's very bold to say, like, you know what, we're going to do this whole sequence.
It's going to linger.
Yeah, and like it worked. It paid off. I just think it worked for me. It was just clever filmmaking.
I was getting so mad with Jim in that, though. There's a bit where she's like, I think it's going away, and he's like, I don't want it to go away. I was just like, oh, you're such a moron. Like, who would actually be like that?
For me, it was a little too long. It was a bit of a consequence of how I watched this on my laptop. I ended up hovering over the scroll bar to see when they were going to move. I wasn't going to look for something happened. I just wanted to see when the scene changed, and I was like, oh, this is really long for this to be happening, and I don't particularly care for this guy, and so I don't want to be this close to him that long.
I did find myself when I was watching that scene, though, because I was so concentrating on so much, I didn't even want to like look down to write notes about it. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm going to miss something. I'm going to miss like a face pressed up against the tent or like whatever. So I was just like thoroughly concentrating on what I was watching in front of me and listening. Do you think that when they get to like the daytime part, when they've obviously survived that night, do you think the fear drops off at that point?
No, for me it didn't, because again, I knew there was only about 10 minutes left in the entirety of the film, but also I have seen Blair Witch, and so I know that in that movie, once daylight happens and it's getting lost, and that's now the new fear. And I think you guys have played enough games with me. I get lost pretty easily. Not so much in real life, but no, maybe a little bit in real life. But, in that situation, I would get turned around so quickly and freak out. Like, that would be equally as terrifying to me.
It's got to collect that hair, though, doesn't it?
Then they go back to the same. Like, her reaction to finding that same bit of log is completely valid. Like, he makes it like she's overreacting.
So it's only 3 hours of walking in the circle, can't it?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Well, we briefly mentioned when they get to the river, and like I was just thinking, like, if you found the river, why are you not just walking along the river? Don't go back into the woods, just follow the river. Yeah. But there's a bit where they're on like the sandy bit around the edge, and he finds footprints. That bit I did think was a bit lame. Like it's like they're so like pristine, what you would expect a Bigfoot footprint to look like.
Yeah, I kind of feel like at that point the scary bit for me was just the tent, and after that it was kind of like the conclusion of what's going to happen to these two people. So yeah, that them seeing the Bigfoot, yeah, it did look a bit cartoony.
I've got an alternate scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
What if we don't actually see Bigfoot? We don't end up getting to see anything. What if a group of crazed Bigfoot enthusiasts are the ones that are terrorizing them? What if it's the guy that tried to stop them from coming into the woods?
Well, I did think, is it maybe the guy with the footprint that was made out of clay?
Yeah, they know the sounds to make.
Why have they kidnapped
the
that
shapes
woman?
To make. I don't think that they're doing well with the ladies in the normal situation.
Oh, no.
So maybe that's how they get a wife. I would argue, what's her name? Babe. What's her name?
Kelly.
I would argue she might be slightly better off with a Bigfoot than she is with Babe.
Jim!
Yeah.
Oh, poor Jim.
Bigfoot, I think, would easily move to LA for her. Care about her career.
When they're sitting there right at the end, and they're sitting not in the tent anymore, like it's dark again, they're sitting just like in the woods listening to the noise. Kelly's like armed herself with a branch, And Jim's just sitting there filming, which I know for the sake of us we need to see it, but you feel like he would be the one that's armed and she'd be the one holding the light. You know?
I kind of feel like the light should be out there, not looking at them as well. Like,
yeah, lighting yourself up like dinner on a plate.
Yeah, he's like, we're here. I was like, you should need to, they were looking out into the dark. And I was like, well, you can't see anything. You need the light. So maybe pull the light over there so we can kind of see. But yeah, that's where it started. We weren't losing, but it was very much like, okay, it's got to wrap up soon.
What is everybody's favourite cryptid before we wrap up with our ratings?
Go on, Danielle, you go first.
Okay, I got mine all queued up. When you asked us this question pre-show, I didn't have one loaded up, but I knew there was one specific to Pennsylvania, the state that I live in the United States. And so I have chosen the squonk as my favorite cryptid.
What is that?
The squonk is a pig-like creature with loose skin folds and warty skin with moles and like patches of hair, and the squonk sits and cries all the time. He's like the Eeyore cryptid.
Is it not the woman that was at the end of this movie?
No. I did not see any warts on those boobs that I saw. And the squonk just sits and cries all the time, and then whenever he is scared, he can dissolve into his tears.
How about you, Dave?
Mine is a little hint for next week. It's the Loveland frog. He is a humanoid frogman and first sighted by like businessmen or people traveling salesmen driving along unnamed roads in the 1955. Basically, people just spot sort of three figures standing on hind legs along the side of the road. They could be like 3 to 4 feet tall in height with leathery skin and frog faces. So for me, that would be terrifying. But they're spotted under like poorly lit bridges, and one of them's held a wand before, so they can like...
A wand?
Yeah, and they fire like sparkles of light.
Does the wand choose them?
The frog chooses the wizard. So they're like wizard frogs, I guess. What about you, Nat?
Mine's probably, I mean, it's a bit basic, but mine's probably Mothman, to be honest. Like Point Pleasant, West Virginia. I remember watching the Mothman Prophecies at the cinema when it came out, and I was like, oh wow, like this is really good. And then I was like really into it, so I got the book, and it's like, because it's not just like Mothman being seen at all these like tragedies and things. It's like there's these like creepy men that like knock on the locals' doors and stuff and like ask questions. So it's kind of a bit like, is it aliens? Is it like, I don't know. It's just very mysterious. There's like a lot of layers to it. So I've always been quite intrigued. And sometimes when you have like disasters that have happened even in like modern times, obviously it's just people saying it, but they're like, oh yeah, there was like a sighting of Mothman or whatever.
If you like Mothman, apparently the author that wrote that Minotaur book that I read, the second book in that series is about a romance with a Mothman.
Oh my god, maybe that's what I'm missing in my life. Right, so that brings us to the end of the podcast where we do our ratings, well, our favourite characters, worst characters, favourite scene, and then overall rating. So we'll start with our favourite and worst characters. Dave, we'll start with you.
Favourite character has to be the guy who tells them to go home. Just because he's just so over the top. I guess because like he was the only proper actor there. Everyone else wasn't acting. They were like real people. So it just came across really fake. But he was funny nonetheless because he kind of storms up to the car, literally climbs into the car itself, and he's like,
he throws a rock at him.
Yeah, he's like, you got to get out of here. You got to turn your car around and get the fuck over there. It's like, whoa, aggressive. But it was so over the top that I was like, oh, this is silly. But I found him really fun. And worst character, probably that raccoon causing all that mischief.
Oh, he was so cute. How about you, Danielle?
My favorite was the bookstore guy, Steve, who has these like big eyes, and I don't know if his hair is dyed or what, but he's got like a mullet, but it looks kind of like he's wearing some sort of cap too. It's like a very intense black on his head at parts. He like makes some like off-color joke and then deadpans and said, "That's sort of a joke." His bookstore looks insane. His bookstore has there's a sink behind his desk that he's got empty liquor bottles. And he's got a lava lamp that's not running, and you can buy the Bigfoot Times for $1.50. Yeah. My least favorite character was Babe, the male version.
The male babe, Jim.
Male babe, yeah. He did not prepare well for that trip. He took his beloved female babe into the woods without a good plan. How about you, Nat?
My favourite character was Nita, the old lady that they did an interview with next to the Bigfoot statue. He clearly wanted to, one, she's not a believer, even though she lives in, the Bigfoot town of wherever.
Willow Creek.
But he's he's asking her all these questions. He's just like, what do you think about it? She's like, no. It's just one word answers. He's trying to get blood out of a stone with her. My worst character is Jim. Yeah, he, like you say, he hasn't prepared. He is so nonchalant when everything goes to heck that he's just it makes him so unlikable because you are not grasping the severity of this situation and how isolated you are away from help. And he's just oh, this is great. This is great footage for my documentary that I is going to be seen by 2 people probably.
Yes. Do they establish what is he a documentary filmmaker, or is he just what does he do?
I just thought he was doing it for himself almost. Yeah, I don't know. They never really established it. Obviously, she's an actress. But he never really establishes what he does.
Justice for Jim, I say.
No. You already picked your best character, and it ain't Jim, so no justice for Jim. What's everyone's favourite scene? Danielle, you can go first.
I think we've touched on it a lot. I felt the whole ending was fairly effective, if a little bit too long in that one static shot for me. Maybe the last shot was the most effective for me. Jim gets beat up, and then there's that pull where the camera you can see he's being dragged away. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting looking. Dave?
Yeah, I think the tent scene, I've said that before. I really like the tent.
Yeah, obviously I do like the tent scene, just the tension that it builds. A little thing that I did like is right at the end where you hear one of the Bigfoot whoop, and then you hear the 2 respond, and you're oh, actually it was 3 of them. Yeah. It wasn't just a solitary figure, and that in itself is quite creepy because you're oh, there was a load of them out there at the time when you just thought, oh, there's one adversary sort of thing.
Well, that and the fact that there's the seeing the woman and knowing that that she's been missing for how long, and she's still just sort of catatonic crying.
Yeah. Right, so we will do our scores. Me and Dave, as we are from England, are the limes, and Danielle, as she's a lemon, does the lemons. Thanks. How many lemons would you give it, Danielle?
I gave this a 2.5. The scares at the end were really effective, but I felt overall the film kind of dragged. Much like Dave's review of Lake Mungo, I think this could have been improved with a little bit more in the back end. Maybe cutting down some of the local color and doing more Lost in the Woods, more building of the encounter rather than everything happening on the first night.
How about you, Dave?
I'm going to give it a 4. I just enjoyed it. I think it was a well-rounded found footage movie. There's bits where it could have been a bit snappier, but overall I think it does what it was set out to do, and I think they made a good job of it.
I also gave it a 4. I was surprised. I didn't think I was going to get into it as much as I did on the first viewing, but I did find that it just kind of all fell back into place, and I was really into it, leaning forward, trying to listen to the noises. I also feel I suppose with a lot of found footage movies, they kind of flip the horror genre in a bit, in that usually I always say with horror movies, there's the scares are up front and the beginning of the movie is really scary, and then once you know what the creature is, it loses the fear. Whereas this was very much almost happy-go-lucky at the start, and then it built up to all the scares at the end. But yeah, so that is our discussion of, I was going to say Lake Mungo, Willow Creek, and we will be heading to, well, we've already kind of alluded to what it's about.
We're
next
heading
week
to the
with
pond.
Dave's pick. We're heading to the pond, yeah, they're going to go feed the ducks.
I wish it were the ducks. I have no idea what this is going to be like, so I'm excited to see what this
It's going to be an experience.
comes out like. Yeah.
So that's a bye from me.
Bye.
That's bye for me. Bye.